Deep in the heart of Africa, far from the beaten path, lies a village that has been forgotten by time. A village so steeped in mystery, its name is whispered only in fear. People say it was abandoned overnight, its residents vanishing without a trace. But some say the village was cursed, its inhabitants paying the ultimate price for a crime they never should have committed. I'm about to tell you the story of that cursed village, but be warned, once you hear this tale, you'll never look at the night the same way again. It's a story of betrayal, forbidden rituals, and something far darker that still lingers in the shadows. It all began with a group of villagers who lived near the edge of the forest, where the trees were ancient and the air thick with secrets. Their village was known for its prosperity, and life seemed simple and peaceful. But deep in the heart of the forest stood a forbidden place, a shrine of old, said to be home to the spirits of the ancestors. No one was allowed near it, for it was believed that disturbing the shrine would anger the spirits. But one fateful evening, a group of ambitious villagers, led by a man named Kwame, decided that the village needed more. They were tired of the constant struggles, the hunger, and the lack of resources. They believed that the shrine could grant them powers beyond their imagination, that the spirits could bless them with wealth, health, and strength. And so they made their way into the forest, ignoring the warnings of the elders. Kwame, determined to bring prosperity to his people, led them deeper into the jungle where the trees seemed to close in on them, the air growing thicker with each step. The further they went, the more they felt a heavy presence watching them. But they pressed on, driven by greed and the hope of riches. When they finally reached the shrine, they were awestruck by its beauty, an ancient stone structure covered in moss with carvings of strange symbols that seemed to shift and move in the dim light. But as they approached the shrine, a chill swept through the air, and the ground beneath their feet began to tremble. Kwame, without hesitation, stepped forward and touched the shrine's cold surface, murmuring a prayer for power. The moment his fingers made contact with the stone, the ground rumbled violently, and a deafening scream echoed through the jungle. The villagers froze, their eyes wide with fear. It was too late. They had awoken something ancient, something that should have never been disturbed. The sky turned blood red, and the earth shook beneath their feet as the spirits of the ancestors, angered by the disrespect shown to their shrine, rose from the ground. The villagers tried to flee, but the spirits moved faster than they could run. One by one, they were dragged back into the darkness, their screams echoing into the night. By dawn, the village was silent. When the sun rose, only a few survivors stumbled back into the village, their eyes hollow and their souls broken. The once thriving community had been reduced to ruins. Those who returned spoke of horrific visions, of spirits chasing them through the jungle, of shadows that whispered in the wind. The elders, who had stayed behind, knew immediately what had happened. The curse had been unleashed, and there would be no turning back. In an attempt to save what remained, they gathered the villagers together and performed a ritual, sealing the village's fate. They placed a powerful curse upon the land, one that would ensure the village would never again be found. But the curse was not just for the villagers, it was for anyone who dared to enter. The forest surrounding the village became a place of nightmares where shadows moved of their own accord, and the spirits of the ancestors could still be heard wailing in the wind. The village once full of life, became a place of death and despair, and soon the world forgot about it entirely. Years passed, and the village faded from memory. It was no longer spoken of, and the jungle slowly began to reclaim what remained. But some say that the curse still lingers, waiting for the next person to venture too close to the forbidden land. And so, the legend continues. One fateful day, a group of adventurous travelers, unaware of the legend, set out to explore the jungles of Africa. They were drawn by stories of lost cities and forgotten places, and they believed they could uncover what had been lost to time. They ventured deep into the jungle, each step taking them further away from civilization. As they walked, the air grew thick, the trees towering over them like ancient giants. The closer they got to the forgotten village, the more uneasy they became. The path seemed to change, leading them in circles as though the jungle itself was trying to keep them out. And then they found it. The village lay ahead, shrouded in an eerie mist. The huts were abandoned, but there was something unsettling about the silence. No animals, no birds, just the sound of the wind rustling through the trees. The travelers approached cautiously, unsure of what they were walking into. But as they stepped into the village, the air grew colder and the mist seemed to thicken. In the distance, they saw figures moving, shadows that didn't belong, whispering words in a language they couldn't understand. The ground beneath them seemed to pulse, and then, without warning, the spirits of the village appeared, their eyes glowing with an unnatural light. The travelers turned to run, but the jungle seemed to close in around them, trapping them in the curse of the forgotten village. And so, the village waits, its curse lingering, for the next soul to cross its threshold.